The Idaho Family Policy Center is fighting to bring Sunday laws to their state. We go here to an article by Desert News. It says, inside the movement to make Idaho a Christian state and how that affects Latter-day Saints. And I'm telling you, it's going to affect more than the Latter-day Saints. In this article, we read, one of the most influential conservative policy groups at the Idaho Capitol wants to make the state explicitly Christian. But their definition excludes a quarter of the population who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, not to mention those in the state who belong to other religions or no religion at all. Over the past 5 years, the Idaho Family Policy Center has become a legislative powerhouse, drafting, sponsoring, and training lawmakers to debate a host of bills promoting Christian values in public spaces. This year, the organization pushed to mandate daily Bible reading in public schools. Though the policy never received a floor vote, the organization has vowed to bring it back next year with a proposal representing just the beginning of what the group envisions for the state. Idaho Family Policy Center President Blaine Conzatti told the Desert News he would not oppose declaring Idaho a Christian state and implementing religious tests for public office, although he clarified these are not his short-term goals. Now, it's not like this organization has had no success. We're not just talking about some kind of random organization here, because it clearly says here in this article that the organization has had some major victories, like the 2023 passage of bills letting parents sue libraries that carry sexually offensive books, and letting students sue for encountering members of the opposite sex in public bathrooms. So this is not an organization that has no teeth. Continuing, Republican Representative Stephanie Nicholson, who represents the area west of Idaho Falls, said proposals for the state to come out in transparent support of a certain interpretation of Christianity have been on turbocharge over the last few years. Groups like Idaho Family Policy Center have an outsized influence in Idaho politics because of the partnerships they have developed with many sitting lawmakers and prospective primary challengers, Nicholson said. So they have a large and they have a heavy influence on the lawmakers there. Now, Nicholson, it says, I think that we're getting back to a very slippery slope of being like the Church of England or the Roman Catholic influence in Italy, Nicholson said. When's this going to stop? What's good enough for them? And of course, what she's saying here is right. This is them going and pushing in the direction of the image of the beast, right? What is the beast? That is the Roman Catholic Church. What is the image of the beast? That is the Protestant churches being formed into the same image as the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church was a religious authority that was granted and had civil power, and so the image of the beast is the Protestant churches being made into an image of the Roman Catholic Church. So the Protestant churches having the civil authority placed into their hands. This is a direction that not even just individuals who are Seventh-day Adventists can see that this stuff is heading. Now, if we look at the press release, the 2025 legislative agenda for the Idaho Family Policy Center. Okay, this was released on January 6, 2025. And in this, they say on number 3 that they want to establish Sabbath overtime pay for hourly workers. This legislation will require employers to pay overtime for work performed on Sunday with limited exceptions. Now, of course, this is the same thing that is found in Project 2025 that Johnathan Berry wants to get enforced, right? This idea of causing people to, who work on Sunday, they have to be paid overtime pay. And of course, this is meant to discourage individuals. This is meant to discourage businesses from causing or allowing people to work on Sundays. Now, these individuals, the Idaho Family Policy Center, they did a poll on this, right? So it says, newly released poll results show overwhelming support for our 2025 legislative agenda. Our policy team then, I should say, has been hard at work for the last 9 months, preparing for what we believe is a historic opportunity to advance God-honoring public policy in the state legislative session that began last Monday. That's why we're proud to announce the results of our third annual Idaho Family Policy Poll. This scientific public opinion poll was commissioned by Idaho Family Policy Center and conducted with a large representative sample of likely Idaho voters. So these are voters, right? The questions are focused on issues of importance to Idaho families. Unsurprisingly, the results revealed that Idahoans support our bold conservative agenda to protect family, faith, and freedom in the GEM state, right? And so what do we see here? We see 78% of the individuals that they polled support establishing Sunday overtime pay for most hourly employees. Now, before I continue, I will point out, and it's not something we can ignore here, right? There's two angles that we can look at this from. There's obviously the fact that simply individuals, if you have businesses that are forced to pay overtime pay, they're going to want to shut down and not really want to pay people on Sundays, right? But then there's also the other side of the coin, where there's individuals who are thinking on a purely monetary base, right? And how they're looking at this and going, well, I would love to just be able to work my normal 40 hours. And then if part of my normal 40 hours lands on Sunday, then I get paid overtime pay. I get time and a half for that, right? So there is more than one angle through which this can be looked at, right? But we are to understand the angle that the Idaho Family Policy Center is working under. And what they say is our Lord set aside the Sabbath as a day of rest. And nearly every state in our nation once recognized this truth by enforcing blue laws that prohibited unnecessary commerce and labor on Sundays. As these laws have been repealed, many report feeling pressure to work on Sunday, resulting in a decline in church attendance and Americans growing more tired, overworked, and disconnected from their communities. By requiring employers to pay overtime for work performed on Sunday, our state legislature can help encourage rest, worship, and time with family and community. Now, of course, like I said, they're doing this, they're choosing to do this so that they can get Sundays off. But of course, there's still going to be that, other angle where some individuals that are not this policy center, right? There's going to be other individuals and maybe a small group of individuals who are looking at this and going, well, this is a way I can make more money, right? But what did the Idaho Family Policy Poll ask the individuals? How did they phrase this question? Well, if you scroll down to point number 5, okay, they say, American workers increasingly report feeling stressed and anxious, and many report working on Sunday. How much do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Most hourly employees should receive overtime pay for the work they perform on Sundays. And as you can see here, nearly 80% of the individuals they polled agreed with them. Nearly 80%. So this kind of policy really seems like it's something that's really easy for them to get passed. And of course, having something like this passed that then is going to discourage businesses from opening on Sunday and therefore encouraging and bringing closer to the inevitable Sunday laws. Now, the president of the Idaho Family Policy Center says that Sabbath observance is a mark of Christian nations. Interesting points about this, especially considering that, number one, the Bible does talk about how the Sabbath in Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 20, is a sign between God and his people. But also, it's interesting how they say this is a mark of Christian nations. This is not the only time that something like this has popped up. Now, they're mentioning it as the mark of Christian nations, but those who understand prophecy know this to be the mark of the beast. Okay, and this Blaine individual, the president here, Blaine Conzati, he says that colonial and state legislatures in early America passed Sunday closing laws, also called blue laws, prohibiting unnecessary labor and commerce on the Sabbath. And of course, this is what he's trying to get back to, right? And so we can see movements like this in the United States starting to take place and really to gain some traction, right? Now, it's like Sister White has warned us and as she's told us, and, individuals are going to start to see that what we're saying and what we've been saying about prophecy, about Sunday laws coming to be enforced in the United States of America, how that is correct, right? And so Sister White did tell us, heretofore, those who presented the truths of the third angel's message have often been regarded as mere alarmists. Their predictions that religious intolerance would gain control in the United States, that church and state would unite to persecute those who keep the commandments of God, have been pronounced groundless and absurd. It has been confidently declared that this land could never become other than what it has been, the defender of religious freedom. But as the question of enforcing Sunday observance is widely agitated, the event so long doubted and disbelieved is seen to be approaching, and the third message will produce an effect which it could not have had before. Sunday laws are coming. Thank you for watching. God bless.